Hello and welcome to your weekly forecast for week commencing the 4th of April 2022. So we will of course begin with a look at the week as a whole, and this is an interesting one. Then we will go day by day looking at the energies of each day throughout the 7-day period, and we will finish up with a motivational message at the end, so remember to stay tuned for that. There will of course be timestamps below in the description so that you can jump back in as you need to throughout the week for more guidance. So let's dive on in. Okay, let's take a look at the week as a whole. We have number 14, balance, number 13, release, and number 38, protection. Okay. So interesting, 14-5 balance. This actually came up in my 4-4 reading as well. If you haven't already seen that, I will link to that above. So this week's energy is continuing on the theme of letting go of what no longer serves you so that you can bring more balance, more equilibrium and more joy into your life. So ask yourself, what is it that you need to let go of this week? Is it a relationship? Is it a toxic ex who keeps rearing their ugly head that you have no interest in being with, but they won't leave you alone? Maybe it's a career that you never really wanted in the first place. Whatever it is, it's time to take some big steps towards a happier and more peaceful life this week, leaving behind the things, the people, the places, and the thought patterns that cause us harm. So this isn't just about things that we don't want anymore, the ones that actually cause us harm that really shouldn't be there. Now, as I've said before, this century we're in is 2 energy, and I'll link to my numerology series above. And that is even more noticeable in the 2nd decade of the 2nd millennium. We're smack bang into energy, and it will keep pushing us, keep challenging us until we are honest enough and brave enough to finally find that place of true balance within ourselves and within the world around us too. So that's why we have to be really honest and get rid of the things that are harming us. The higher realms really want us to know that it's okay to be courageous of heart this week. It's the moment to be brave and stand up and test out your authentic voice. Have a go at being authentic if you've never done it before. And most people haven't. So I've pulled some archetype cards for us this week as well, so we can see what we need to be embodying and what archetypes are affecting or afflicting us this week. So let's take a look at those. We have the Fool, the Gambler, and the Thief. Now, these are fascinating. They don't seem like particularly positive archetypes on the face of it. Not great energies to be working with there. But the Fool is actually a really important one here. It's encouraging us to see the lighter side of everything, to learn to laugh and not take life so seriously, but also be open to new things, to be ready to go back to zero and to start again if necessary. Learn something new from scratch. You don't have to be all wise and all knowing all the time. The ego is far too busy running our lives right now for the most part, and it wants to be right, it wants to look clever and prove how worthy it is. But what if you were already worthy? What if you were already enough all along? Ego is very much the thief of joy, and the shadow aspects of the gambler and the thief speak very strongly to me this week of allowing ourselves to put happiness to one side in order to look clever and seem productive, to justify our very existence or to be able to buy stuff. The gambler brings in a very disempowered energy too, of believing that everything happens by chance, that the world's a confusing and unfair place, but it really doesn't have to be. If we can learn to trust in our intuition and trust in God and the divine again, it can and will be a very different experience for all of us. So if you're enjoying this video, please do remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Leave a comment if there's something you'd like to share, because that really helps us. Now let's move on to Monday. We'll take a look at those cards. We have the 10 of Water, the 9 of Spring, and another 9, the Eagle. Monday's energy is all about taking stock of how far you've come, looking at what you've achieved so far in life and considering the next steps. We live in a world that is becoming increasingly unpredictable, as we can all see. So it may be worth looking at how you can protect yourself against shortages or implement strategies that allow you to live off grid or autonomously without having to rely on the system. which we know is rigged against us, and things can be made scarce or removed from us very easily by those in power when they want to force a change on us or to keep us in fear and lack. There's a powerful angelic presence today too, so ask your guardian angel to guide you and show you what steps you need to take to secure your future, your family's future, your community's future. This could also be looking into getting some cryptocurrency or adding some different forms of payment to your business, for example, if you're a freelancer or a small business owner, like barter, gold and silver, for example, or cryptocurrency. The world is changing. We're coming to the end of a massive cycle right now. And the things that we've accumulated could very easily be taken away from us if we are neglectful. Now, while I don't want to scare anyone or put you in a state of thinking negatively, heaven forbid, I don't want to put you in a state of fear, I would say that the time is right to be planning for a new future, a different future, and shaping it as we, the people, want it to look. It's the moment to get with the times, but not with the propaganda. We cannot and should not rely on corrupt politicians, or this could do us great harm and probably will. We must remember that we're sovereign beings now, and that we're able and willing to make our own decisions, to see the truth without being told what to think and take steps accordingly. So let's take a look at Tuesday now. Our cards, we have the Eight of Fire, we have the Six of Autumn, and we have number 39, Disruption. Okay, so Tuesday's energy actually comes in with a big shift. Look at that. That's a shift and a half. And options may be appearing out of the blue. So Tuesday's energy is a bit off balance though, so you could find yourself losing your job or having some unwanted change or life event that you're not in control of. The energy is running helter-skelter on Tuesday, but that doesn't mean that you can't achieve a positive outcome from it. Remember that sometimes the universe throws everything out of the window so that something better can come in. The new beginning doesn't always show up at once, and normally the positive stuff comes in over the longer term. So short term, the shift can be very difficult to accept when something major and difficult happens in our lives. There is a need to recover from the shock when this happens. You know, there may be hurt, there may be disappointment that we need to recover from, there may be trauma there. But the message is to try and stay focused and keep your eyes on the bigger picture today, no matter what is going on. The energy isn't necessarily going to be negative for everyone either, or in every aspect of life. There is a possibility of actually making some extra money today with this disruptive energy, so it could be a sudden move in the financial markets or the crypto markets today. So look out for that if that's something you're into. Opportunities for financial growth or business may come up unexpectedly today too, so there could be an offer of a partnership or an opportunity, but remember that the energy is still a bit off kilter, so it may not be exactly as it looks. So by that I mean that a good opportunity may not look advantageous and a bad one might look really good. So be very careful, tune into your intuition so that you can discern what's actually going on before you take the plunge or commit any money. Okay, let's move on to Wednesday. And Wednesday's cards, we have number 5, Unity. We have the Queen of Autumn. And we have number 40, Risk. Okay, Wednesday. So today's message is on the theme of striking out in a new direction, taking the wisdom and knowledge that you've learned and applying it, doing something new, or maybe something a little bit daring. It's all about stepping out of your comfort zone in order to move forwards in life and on your spiritual path. So the reminder for Wednesday is that education and systems of society are there as a guide only. At some point, the student must exceed the master, and there's no real progress and no real growth if that doesn't happen. And that counts for the individual and for the world too. So if we allow ourselves to be beaten down, told what to do like children, the world can't advance. It can only stay stuck. And on an individual level, that's true as well. Things go stagnant. Energetically, things start to rot, which is what we're seeing in many parts of the world right now, this stuck, stagnant, toxic energy. Energy is like water in that it needs to move freely. It needs to change form and refresh itself, or it becomes stagnant or possibly even harmful. Your advice for today is to take what you've learned and use your knowledge and skills to try something new. What steps can you take to begin moving in a new and interesting direction? There's an opportunity to implement ideas at work and in business today, and some people might be feeling the pull to make a bigger life change or start living in a completely new life, completely new way of doing things, away from the old systems of control, away from society, perhaps like a modern nomadic lifestyle. There are digital nomads, aren't there, living off or perhaps living off grid autonomously. The energy is very innovative on Wednesday. It comes in with wisdom and knowledge. This is about new ideas coming from wisdom, not from foolhardiness or ignorance. This isn't about crazy schemes or trying something without knowing if it will work. It's about measured but sensible new and innovative ideas and creations that will actually help humanity and the individual to move forwards in a new and more positive way. So let's move on to Thursday now. Let's take a look at the cards. We have the 8 of Air. We have number 17, the Star. And we have number 26, the Horse. Okay. So Thursday brings up some more challenging energy this week, and we may find ourselves feeling overwhelmed or as though we're not fully in control of our lives. There's a lot of fear and apprehension and a sense of overwork on Thursday too. It may be time to look at your responsibilities at home or at work or in any part of your life that's draining you right now and see where you can delegate. Are you refusing to accept help from other people, or are you just not asking for it? Maybe worse, you're asking the wrong person for help and then getting annoyed when you don't get it. Okay, so we all have people in our lives who are lazy, don't we? Who are unhelpful, who don't like to put themselves out for others. I could think of some ex-partners. These are not the people to ask for help, okay, and yet we still do it. If you have a partner, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, colleague who's lazy, unwilling to help others, or tries to get out of doing their fair share, stop asking them, really. You know, it's stupidity. Stop expecting them to help you. It's not going to happen. Okay, now it's time to help yourself. Find the people who will support you and help you, because they are out there. And the more you're able to collaborate and cooperate with people who value your time and efforts and understand that we should help each other, the more help the universe will send you. Okay, so that lazy ass in your life might eventually buck up their ways and feel the energy shift too, but don't start there. Don't hit your head against a brick wall. Also, I want to say, don't give up if you feel tired, emotionally drained, or overwhelmed on Thursday. Learn to ask for help, and more to the point, to ask the right people for help and support if you need it today. Building a community starts with just meeting one person, and new supportive communities will be built off the back of Thursday's energy. Community, true support and cooperation is the way forwards in the age of Aquarius. So the energy is actually helping us right now to find the others, to find our tribe, the other people who already know this, so that we can start to build a society as the old one crumbles around us. Now let's move on to Friday. Let's take a look at the cards. We have the 2 of Air. We have the 4 of Summer. And we have number 44, Letting Go. Okay. So Friday's energy has something of a discontented feel to it. It's a bit uncomfortable, like we know we have to change something, but we don't want to. Or perhaps we feel demoralized or paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong decision. So Friday, definitely not going to be an easy day for most people. There are going to be some difficult decisions which may present themselves. And this is following on from Monday's energy, which was asking us to make changes for a very different future. Friday is very much connected to what happened on Monday. It's that 4-4 energy coming up again. Everything seems too hard, like we can't do it, or we don't want to put the effort in because it just all seems too much. Our dreams might feel unobtainable or just too far away to even bother with on Friday. If you haven't seen my 4-4 reading for Monday, I will link that above. There's also a need to let go of the things that we no longer need, the things we no longer want, the things we no longer desire in our life in order to make a positive change. And that in itself can be very hard to do. That first step can be incredibly difficult to take. People have a habit of trying to hold on to everything at once just in case. And that's how we end up with cluttered homes, cluttered lives, and just trying to do too much at once. trying to build a business while holding down a full-time job, or even find a relationship while we're still in the old one. It's not a good way to do things. Letting go of what we no longer want, what no longer serves us, can be really hard, and it brings up some very deep existential fears about change and the future on Friday. It can make you bad-tempered, and you might even not know why you're being short with people on Friday. If you're struggling, then spend time in meditation, contemplation, prayer, self-healing, or go out to a calm and peaceful place away from the hustle and bustle where you can hear your inner voice of wisdom and breathe out the stress. So let's move on to Saturday now. Let's take a look at the cards. We have number 13, release, the King of Spring. And we have number 24, the Dragon. Look at that. So, following on from the theme of letting go on Friday, we may see something of a shift on Saturday. And I mean this on the national and international level too, not just on a personal level. So be ready for changes or for something really big to happen on the world stage, because there's something afoot here in this energy. And I don't necessarily mean something easy or benevolent either. In fact, the suggestion to me from these cards is that there may be something that you feel the need to stand up against or resist. The energy of the shift may be oppressive or perhaps hijacking a change in order to lead people down a blind alley, something that politicians are particularly good at. So watch out for distractions to what's really going on Saturday and this whole weekend. Actually, there'll be a lot of distractions, a lot of illusion being cast. The energy is actually quite important on Saturday for beginnings and growth. So don't let other people or authorities make your decisions for you. Again, we're reminded that you're not only a sovereign being, but we're actually very good at making our own decisions for ourselves. You know, when we have all the facts and they're presented to us in an impartial and clear way, we're perfectly responsible as adults, perfectly capable of making those decisions. Now, Saturday could mark the end of a job or a contract, although not necessarily a sudden one, and the beginning of a new and more lucrative one. The energy is quite practical and earthy, so this speaks to me of a physical and real life change rather than the more subtle or emotional ones. It could be the end of a period of illness for some people, which is good news, and I see that better health is actually on the horizon for many people, with the strength of that dragon energy coming in to support our physical bodies and the root chakra. It'll be helping to build our bodies back up and to build us to higher levels of wellness and true health and well-being for the future. So Saturday could also inspire you to join a gym or begin some form of regular exercise, but something quite vigorous, I want to say, not just walking or doing something light or gentle. This is physical exercise. Today is asking us to be strong and make ourselves stronger in every sense of the word, and the physical aspect is the one that many of us neglect. If you need me, I'll be lifting weights. Now, let's move on to Sunday. Let's take a look at the cards. We have the Six of Fire, the Prince of Summer, and don't freak out, it's the Death card, it's not literal. Okay. Now, you might remember we had this card last week as well. So it's interesting to me that it's come out again. Today's energy is talking about relationships, so that's what's under the spotlight energetically. Particularly transformation in relationships, which can mean endings, but it can also mean the change of a dynamic, so moving forwards or moving to another level in the relationship. The energy is actually pretty nice, and I felt my heart chakra activate when I originally pulled those cards. So I think there's a real possibility for genuine loving connections, for healing rifts, and perhaps even finding a soulmate or a kindred spirit. Now, this could be a romantic relationship or a friendship, but it's one that's led by the heart and has a true connection on a deep spiritual level. So it's a member of your spiritual tribe or soul group may well be finding you today. It's a hopeful springtime energy on Sunday, so you can capitalize on that by making positive or life-affirming choices and plans for the future, spending time with loved ones, friends, family, animals, outside, or literally just having a good time. It's a bit of a celebratory energy on Sunday, so use it to help manifest more positivity and more reasons to celebrate. But just a word of caution for Sunday, try to stay away from the news and media because the dark powers are aware of this energy too and its potency and exactly what we can do with it. And they may and probably will try to subvert that by swamping us with bad news or some shocking story that they want us to think about instead to keep us in a state of fear or much more negative energy. That is not how you manifest a positive future. So stay away from the miserable, bad newsmongers and choose joy instead. So let's move on to this week's motivational message. We have 2 cards for this week. We have Wish Wisely and Celebration again. So celebration's back. This is a very similar message to last week if you watched last week's weekly forecast. And as we know, as I've said before, when a card comes out again with the same message, it means you weren't listening the first time or somebody wasn't listening. Or maybe you heard it but just didn't take the message seriously, didn't think it was, that important. Well, I think it is. The message here is to celebrate everything, no matter how small. Find the joy, find the happiness wherever it is. Stop looking for problems. We do that so often, and it's a really bad habit that we have in our society. And the news, the media, social media is very much geared up to help us find the bad stuff. Bad stories get clicks. Fear makes us read something, even if the article is irrelevant to us or the video is just scaremongering. So stop that. At what point in the past 2 years did we forget that the universe hears every thought you think? And I've seen this a lot in the spiritual community. It senses every emotion. It hears every idea and every internal conversation that we have with ourselves. We know that to manifest a positive future, we must not allow ourselves to be dragged down by the naysayers, the negative Nellies, or to join in pity parties and play victim. And yet here we are doing it. Stop it. We're at the end of a huge cycle right now. We're at the end of the age of Pisces. It's our responsibility right now to manifest a new way of being, living, and existing, ready for us all to move into the age of Aquarius. We are the spiritual forerunners, the pioneers of this new energy. This is a very big responsibility. And what we're actually doing instead, moaning on Twitter, watching hysterical fools on TikTok, or complaining about how the world is, well, that's not going to work if you want to be happy in the age of Aquarius. That's pretty catastrophic, I have to say. We're actually allowing ourselves to be distracted, to allow other people to channel our energy into what they want. And these aren't nice people. If we're not careful, we'll be helping the dark forces to actually manifest a future that they want. And believe me, that's not a happy picture. The fairies are yelling today's message, reminding us that we must take responsibility, not only for our lives, but for our thoughts, what we choose to hear, see, to subject ourselves to. Use your thoughts with intentionality. Catch yourself when you find yourself moaning or joining in with complaining with other people. Stop. Complaining just manifests more things to complain about. Take a careful look at what energy you're putting out into the universe. Try to focus on joy, happiness, and celebration of life as much as you can. And if you haven't read my book, Dream Bigger, How the Law of Attraction Really Works, I'll link that below as well too, and you can do some revision. Life should be a celebration of existence, of life itself. And when we remember that, that's when we can manifest more reasons to be joyful and more reasons to celebrate life. So thank you very much for watching. Please do take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment if there's something you'd like to share, and I will see you all again soon.